know, as RVers, we have a stinky topic we talk about a lot, and it is not fun to deal with our poop, but that's what we have to do. In this video, I show you my 5-step process that's been foolproof for over 3 years. I give you a demo on how to find a dump station. I give you a tried and true ice cleaning method for my black tank that I do about 6 times a year. And the most controversial part of all is I'm going to tell you why I like my traditional wet RV toilet and my black tank. Hey, for me, for the first time, howdy. My name is Scott. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Go Small, Live Large, all about the Class B camper van RV experience. In this video, we cut to a segment of my What's Up Wednesday show. So let's talk about the big topic of the night, and this is the black tank. And here, I'll show this, zoom in here so you can read this. So audience friend Tim says, Scott, what is your black tank process? After you dump it, do you add water and chemicals? How much water and what chemicals? And I think those are just really superb questions. And we talk about the black tank on this show kind of a lot because Embassy RV does not do black tanks at all. We've done some poking fun at Storyteller with their cassette toilet, which is really a porta potty, 2 gallons that you sit in the middle of the van. And we were poking fun that you can't use your, well, anyway. So let's address his questions right away. And I've got some content here, and I'm going to give a demo. So stay tuned. I'm going to give a demo on how to find a RV dump station. So the first thing we want to do is, let me zoom in here for the content for you, is I'm going to give you my 5-step process. And then again, I'm going to tell you why I love my RV toilet. Clearly that's not it. And here's my process. So, and this kind of, then we'll answer Travel Dreamer's question on the Stinky Slinky. So here's process number 1. Numero uno is you actually want to fill, or at least 2/3, your black tank. Now, why does this kind of not make sense? Hey, if I'm only going to be using it and I'm only at half tank, maybe there's a dump station close, how or why would I fill my black tank? What I've learned the hard way, and this has been talked about on the Facebook group Travato Owners and Wannabe, is by having a full, in quotes, black tank, and clearly mine is not full at this time, it's 1/3. I took this shot earlier today. But by having a full tank, there's enough pressure and from the gravity feed out the drain that it more readily empties the tank. If you just have 1/3 of a tank and you're trying to get that out of the tank, it's really going to not evacuate as quickly nor as fully as you would like. So even if I was to go like leave a campground right now and I'm boondocking for the next week, what I would do is I would actually fill this up with fresh water, my tank, so it reads full, and then I would empty it at that point. It lets all the gravity do the work, and it creates a bit of a vacuum siphon from and emptying the tank really, really quickly. Now what I'll do here is I'll zoom in for you. The ear on the gauge is there for a very specific reason. It is there because I have learned what my tank sounds like when it gets full. It usually reads F for full way before it's actually full. And I have, again, learned through now 3 years of RVing in this thing full time, what my tank sounds like. And my tank, I think, is 12 gallons or maybe 11, one of the two. I can't remember, gray or black. And I can hear when it's getting really full. And if it burps when you are putting a little, water and urine in particular, meaning there's a little bubble that comes up, that baby is full. And you do not want to put anything into that until you empty the tank. So that's step 1. Start with a full tank. Step number 2 is empty your black tank. Yes, we're going to talk about how to find a place to empty your black tank here in just a few minutes at the end of the 5-step process. So I'll zoom in here for you. This is my tank. That's the big gray cap is actually black, covered with dirt. On the left is gray. That is sink and shower water. On the right is black toilet waste. They do not commingle in my van. And the broken handle there, the grips have pulled off over time. No big deal. So step number 2, clearly, is to empty the tank. Step number 3, now this is not every van's equipped with this. I have what's called a Santee flush. And what a Santee flush is I hook my gray water hose up to the side of the van. That's what the connection on the side of the van looks like. And I turn it on with a pressure regulator on the faucet end of things. And once I've evacuated the black tank, I put fresh water in using gray water hose, freshwater hose, through the Santee flush, and it rinses out the inside of the tank. And it does a really good job. That serves 2 purposes. Rinses out the inside of the tank, kind of gets all the extra stuff that didn't go out with the evacuation, and it helps clean the stinky slinky. As Travel Dreamer wants to know, how does she clean that? So for me, step number 1 is cleaning it using the Santee flush system and letting that flush out the tank. You can hear the spray heads going off in the tank. And while it's doing the Santee flush, what I often do is kind of swirl the sewer hose so that it cleans not just the bottom half or third, but the entire thing. So I'm swirling it around to kind of clean it out on the inside using the Santee flush rinse. Make sense? Hopefully you have one of these on your van. They're really, really, really helpful. Now, Winnebago travato comes standard. Step number 4 is empty the gray tank. So I'll zoom in here for you, and I hope you're finding this exciting. I get excited about this process. I'm going to tell you why in a second. Step 4 is empty the gray tank. So I close the valve to the black, and then I pull the lever for the gray. That opens the valve, and you can see the little button there on the right, kind of next to where it says black waste tank drain. That's actually a macerator pump on my system, because the way the plumbing is configured, it pumps the water from the gray tank up and over and into the sewer pipe that's under the van that goes then into the sewer hose that is in the drain hole. So I hold that button down. That too cleans the stinky slinky, my sewer hose. And while that is doing its thing, I'm often able to push the button and kind of run the hose, because it's soapy water at that point going through that hose. So it's really cleaned out really, really well. Unlike some of you, I actually don't really rinse my hose with the faucet thing, because I've actually used that to do my Santee flush. So water connection's already been made. So I'm not like some of you that use the hose at the dump station to rinse out my hose. I'm doing this as part of the process. Santee flush, and then on emptying the gray tank. Hopefully that makes sense. Step number 5 is, this was a big one that the audience friend wanted to see, so let me walk you through this. So this I put in my tank today, or my toilet bowl I should say. So I use 1 bowl of fresh water and 1 chemical packet that goes into the bowl. So if you look at the image on the left, that is the bowl filling. I put the packet in the bowl as it's about full, and then what that does, it helps break it open. And then you can see the image on the left, the drain is now open. I'm pushing on the flusher pedal thing, and the water is now going in with the packet opened and going into the toilet. Now, if I am able to, and my hot tip for you is to do this, is put, after you've emptied your tanks and you have access to fresh water at the same RV site, for example, is use the freshwater connection to your fresh water from your tank to fill that toilet bowl, because that is 1 gallon of water that fills that toilet bowl up to where the sprayer head comes out. I don't want to use my precious onboard water when I'm traveling for that toilet purpose, so I fill it at the RV site from water that I put in the tank, and then I fill it from the RV connection, fresh water again. Hopefully that makes sense. Why, again, is that important? Is it saves me 1 gallon of water for this very important step of putting water and the chemical. This is the chemical that I use. Let me show you this. I've been using this for a long time, Porta Pack. Pretty standard stuff. It's available at most Walmarts, Camping Worlds, any RV parts place will have this. I just have had the best luck with this in keeping it clean, no odors. I like the fragrance that it has on it, and that's what I do. And the reason for putting a gallon of water in is that it begins to make a slurry as waste is going into it. So it gives you a baseline of having stuff in the tank to help keep things broken up. You really want to have the TP in particular broken up. You want to have plenty of liquid so that it cleans out. So hopefully that helps the question. And what I want to do next is talk about, so then you're kind of good to go for the next, for me, about 5 to 7 days, depending on how you use your toilet. So I use my toilet for everything. Number 2, I actually run into if I'm going into a Planet Fitness to work out and shower, I may probably very well often use my toilet for numero dos, right? And because I like my clean private toilet that I have, not the toilet facilities at public places. So that's the deal with that. And I can easily get 5 days on my 12-gallon tank, doing a lot of my business in the tank, which is in the toilet into the tank. Okay? So hopefully that helps the viewer understand my process. How long does it take, you might ask? You will be pretty surprised. If I am really moving quick and I'm not doing a SanTflush, I can do the whole thing in about 4 minutes. I like to go slow and do the SanTflush because it helps keep things clean and working properly. In that case, it's probably taking me 10 minutes. And what is amazing is I've never had an accident, I've never had a mess, because I own the process. Let me show you this, what I'm talking about. You sort of have to own it. And what I would recommend is not having any distractions while you're doing this process. But you have to own it, do the same steps every time, go slow. I wear gloves. And I think if you own the process, whatever yours is, and you repeat it time after time, and you have no interruptions, even if there's people stacked up behind you, I take the 10 minutes to do it right. And if people are trying to talk to me, I'm like, please let me finish this process so I don't make an error, and they'll help me then spend more time with you. So that's the deal there. Own it. Okay, so let me pardon the interruption. Hey, if you're getting anything out of this, sure to appreciate a thumb up. Helps me know you like it. YouTube more readily shares it out to help people like you interested in this topic. Comment below. What are your thoughts on this whole toilet talk topic? And subscribe to the channel if you're into camper van places, camper van products, and camper van tours. Very important. You don't want to miss a single video. Subscribe. Back to our program. So let me help you locate a dump station. This is a sewage treatment plant, and I'm actually going to do a live demo here in just a moment, and we'll look at your questions. I know they're coming in. So where do you locate dump stations? Let me zoom in here for you. Then I'm going to show you an app I use that has been really handy over the time. So obviously campgrounds, municipal, fairgrounds, state parks, national parks, campgrounds of all types generally have a sewer dump station. Truck stops occasionally have them, not all of them. I'll show you how to find that in a second. Camping World, we learned through an audience friend asking about, is a Good Sam membership worth it? Through that question, we learned that by having a Good Sam membership, you can go to a Camping World and dump your tank for free, which is pretty nice. And RV parks obviously are a great place to do that because they're included as part of the price of staying. I'm going to show you what a typical charge is for an RV dump. Sanitary districts are very interesting to me because usually they're at the administration building or they're inside some locked gate. You can go in for free and empty your tanks at a sanitary district facility. I've done this probably a half dozen times, and they're really nice facilities. Meridian, Idaho, outside of Boise, has an amazing one. In Downers Grove, Illinois, has an amazing one, so you can search for that. And then rest stops, really tourist-friendly, RV-friendly states like Florida, Mississippi, Alabama. Some of the rest stops I've found actually let you empty your tanks at a rest stop for $0. That is pretty cool. That is pretty cool. All right, so let me do this. Let me do a demo of RV dumps. And I'm excited to show you this. I'm curious if you've ever heard of this program, this app called, I'm spinning up my iPad. Here we go. And so I'm going to do a live demo off my iPad, which is right here in front of me. So how we doing, folks? You hanging in there with me? You find this interesting? I get excited about this because it's a really big deal in the RV world. Because, I'm going to talk about it in a second. Okay, let me show you this quick. Zoom in here so you can see the whole screen. All right, so on the top row of my apps on my iPad, you can see that here, is a suite of apps for RVers. It's called Allstays. And I've used this really since the very beginning of my van journey back in October 2018. And the one I want to call your attention to there is the top row, second from the left, called RV Dumps. What I'm going to do is tap on that bad boy, and that's going to launch the app. It locates me. I'm in the Boca Raton parking lot. And I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so you can see what's going on here. And what I have it set to do, it's showing just places that have been confirmed to have dump stations. Now, it's not going to be surprising here that these are RV resorts. These are, here's my favorite one up here, John Prince Park Campground. This is one I go to all the time when I'm at home base. Now, what it's able to do is it gives you some information, takes you to the website even, gives you lets you call, and if you want to see what this location looks like in Apple Maps, it will give you directions. So right from the app, you can get navigation, which is really awesome. And if I zoom out a little bit, what I'm looking for is a truck stop. I thought I had one sort of scoped out for you here. Where are you, sir? Right here. Is this the one? No, that's a campground at a casino. Bear with me. I want to show you this. Oh, I'm too far up here. Here we go. Okay, so I think it's this one right here. All right, so here's the waste treatment that I was talking about earlier. So while there's not a lot of information here, what I would probably do is then Google this, find the address, find the phone number, validate this, because there is no phone or website. But you can see it gives you a little bit of instructions here on where to actually go, which is kind of cool. I think this is the one I wanted to show. Here's Lazy Days Resort. What is this one? Self-storage. It's pretty clever. Some of these places. Here's Civic Center. That's interesting. Here's the one I wanted to do. Travel Center. So I tap this. Oops. Oh, bear with me 1 second. Travel Center. So I'm going to tap on that. I'm going to go to their website. And again, I'm probably going to validate that it has it, just because the app may not always be up to date. And again, you can kind of zoom through here, even give them a phone call, and get the information while you are en route to find it. I'm trying to see. I know these guys have, because I've actually used this before. I'm trying to find where it says right here. I'll zoom in here for you. See, RV Dump. In this case, it was $15 or even $10. I can't remember exactly. It's been a year. So the bottom line here is this is a really great app to locate RV dumps. It gives you all kinds of campgrounds. It's like a $3 app. I've never had it go wrong. And if you look at the rest of these apps, I'll zoom back in here for you, and then we'll shift gears. These are really great apps for very specific purposes. There's one for Walmarts. There's one for camping and RVs. There's rest stops that talk about what the rest stop has in it. So if you're looking for rest stops, what amenities might be available, this is a really great way to do it. I'll zoom in here, just a couple up here. The information queue on that. There, it's right there. So Palm City, some GPS coordinates. Again, open in Apple Maps, and how far is it to the next rest stop? Because they're not sometimes not well marked. I don't know how parts coming up. That one's not loading very fast at all. So that is my demo for you on how to find a dump station. They're kind of like everywhere. You just kind of need to know where to look and what to look for. That app is super helpful. All right, before we shift gears, let me tell you why I like my RV tank system. Because, whoops, let me shift out of this, change the content. Bear with me 1 second. Because I think this is, again, it's so important to the RV experience. So I got a few things to share with you here. So RVers have to deal with waste, water and toilet waste, because these are self-contained homes. At home, it just goes down the drain, you never see it again. I like my wet black tank system and gray water because it's simple and it's fast. There's no fussing. I see my waste once. Those that have the cassette style toilet, you kind of have to see it going out unless you're finding a dump station, in which case you don't have to see it again. But if you're dumping that into a traditional toilet, you're gonna see it again. I only see it once, which is the way I like it. There's no smell. I've never had a mess because I go slow. I'm confident in my process because I repeat my process. And I empty my tank, even not at home base, living in the van, 4 times a month, about every 5 days. That is not a lot, 4 times a month to deal with it. And it's usually less than $20. It's $15 at the John Prince Park, which is near me. A lot of the rest, or the truck stops, is about $10. It's just they want to do for free. They want to have a little skin in the game. So it's really inexpensive. And why do I like my RV toilet? Because it's mine, it's private, it's clean to my standards, and I can take a crap anywhere. And I've taken some unusual places to take a crap, let me tell you. And there's something so pleasant, so joyful to relieve oneself anywhere with the same services you get at home. And it's just one of the biggest joys for me of being an RVer, and then dealing with it 5 days later, all done in 10 minutes, and rinse and repeat. There we go again. So that's kind of why I like my black tank system. Now, if you have the dry flush and other things, you're still dealing with it. You're dealing with it in a different manner. But I think this is the reasons I really like a traditional black tank. Let me give you a hot tip. This is a pro tip. Let me zoom in here for you. So I learned through the KOA folks in Arlington, Texas, KOA. I couldn't get my gauge to read empty for E for empty. So they told me about a secret recipe, and I want to share that with you now. So a recipe that is tried and true for me, and I do this about every 2 months, so 6 times a year, because I'm putting enough water into the tank so it becomes a slurry and it empties quickly. We talked about that. Let me zoom back in here for you. My recipe for a happy tank is empty your black tank, as described before. Get 3 bags of ice, 7 pounds each, does the trick. You need 3 toilet bowls of water. You need a squirt of dish detergent. Some have told me softener for fabric softener does this trick. I've never tried it. I've only done dish detergent. And you need about 30 minutes of driving, and then you empty your black tank again. And I will promise you a steak sandwich that it will read empty if you have had it not read empty in your black tank. So I'm putting the ice into the bowl. I did a video on this, so we're not going to go into length of it. It's in the show notes below, so check that out. I go through all the steps. It works like magic every time, and it's really a great process. So I do this every 2 months, and it keeps my black tank happy. Happy campers are good to have. All right, let's answer some questions. Holy cow, that was a lot coming at you. If you haven't got anything out of that, sure appreciate a thumb up. That helps me know you like this. So I hope you enjoyed that video. I enjoyed making it for you. Again, it's a big topic in the community of RVers, a subject we have to deal with. Sometimes a stinky conversation, but nonetheless, you need to choose the best way for you to roll in your RV. I've shared mine. If you got a better way, let me know. And as always, until we see you soon, I wish you to journey on.